we're very close to World War III. And this wouldn't be a war like World War I, World War II. This would be obliteration. This would be the worst thing there's never been. This would be obliteration.
What comes next? Because it could be World War III.
Major warnings coming out in the past 24 hours. Is take a look. Former President Donald Trump warns World War III is imminent, and we will have obliteration if this takes place. Now, I'm going to share with you the video footage so you can see it for yourself as he says World War III and the talk of nuclear, he said, was never used before, but now it's being warned of and used left and right now. Now, take a look at the headlines coming out. We had heard these warnings before as Elon Musk had warned World War III could arise from the current conflicts. We'll take a look in the past 24 hours. North Korea's Kim warns of nuclear attack when enemy provokes it with nukes. North Korea said that it has tested its new ICBMs on Monday to gauge the war readiness of its nuclear force against mounting U.S. hostility. So this is specifically against the United States, drawing condemnation from the United States and its allies. In addition to that, Vladimir Putin allies issues an ominous World War III warning, this coming out this month as well. And we also heard a former CIA analyst say that Putin could launch a nuclear weapons against NATO territories. In addition to that, Iran has warned the United States as the Israel-Hamas war governs the world's attention. Iran is quietly marching towards nuclear breakouts, and the U.S. is preparing for this as well. Let's take a look. Biden's new nuclear bomb compared to bombs dropped on Nagasaki, and major warnings coming out from China. Take a look at this. Xi warned Biden during a summit that Beijing will reunify Taiwan with China. Now, why is this so important? Because China is planning to attack Taiwan, and in addition to that, they know that the U.S. is allies with Taiwan and are expecting that we will defend them when they declare war, and they have already let us know. Take a look. Just in the past 10 days, China has launched a cyber army that is invading U.S. critical services. We've heard that there are infrastructure systems that are ready to be taken down in the United States, 24 of which we know have already been compromised, and those are only the ones that we know of. And China's saying if there is a conflict in the Pacific, the United States could be hit. So I'm going to share with you the video footage and the latest articles coming out on this as we're receiving new warnings in the past 24 hours of World War III and potential nuclear war. So let's go ahead and dive right in. And I know that this is not the news that anybody wants to hear, that these things could be unfolding. But if you appreciate the breaking news updates and you believe like I do that knowledge is power, do me a quick favor, smash that like button. Just takes a second. If you want to stay up to date, it's totally free. Why not? Hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. And in addition to that, if communications go down, we've heard that China could be targeting social media platforms, and you want to stay in contact, please join me at steveramnews.com. Add your name and email. I'm compiling a list for everybody to add on just in case social media platforms go down. We can still provide updates and communication so people can know what's going on. Linked in the description below. But with that being said, let's go ahead and dive right in, and let's start off with this video footage warning from former President Donald Trump.
So I think the world's in more danger than it's ever been because of the power of weaponry, and I will be the only one that can say this with great surety. I will prevent World War III. World War III. We're very close. I don't know if you feel it. I don't know, Madam Attorney General, if you feel it, but we're very close to World War III when you see these discussions taking place. You know, we had an axiom, never, ever talk nuclear, never mention the word nuclear. It was not a word that was mentioned because the power is so ridiculous, and we didn't mention it. Now, all the time, you're hearing nuclear from them. From them. You're hearing it from other countries. It was unacceptable. It was a word that you couldn't say. And all of a sudden, you're hearing that word all the time. And this wouldn't be a war like with army tanks running back and forth, shooting at each other, World War I, World War II. This would be obliteration. This would be the worst thing there's never been. This would be obliteration.
So there you have it. Now, let me know your thoughts, as we are hearing that global leaders around the world are becoming more bold with these claims and these potential threats of attack. A lot of people saying that this is because President Joe Biden is showing weakness within the United States. Do you believe that? Do you think that this is taking place because Joe Biden is weak at this point in the eyes of other global leaders? And do you think that if former President Donald Trump was the president of the United States, that these would subside? And like he said, he would be able to avoid World War III. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But let's take a look at some of the articles that are warning of this. Now, first up, just in the last 24 hours, North Korea's Kim Jong-un warns of a nuclear attack when when enemies provoke it with nukes. Now, the article says North Korea leader Kim Jong-un said that he would not hesitate to launch a nuclear attack if enemies provoked with nuclear weapons. Kim remarked as he met with soldiers under the military's Missile Bureau over its recent launching drill of an intercontinental ballistic missile, or ICBM. Now, Kim said that the resolute military activity conducted by the company this time was a clear explanation of the offensive counteraction mode and the evolution of the nuclear strategy and doctrine of the DPRK not to hesitate even a nuclear attack when the enemy provoked it with nukes. Now, North Korea said this on Tuesday, that it had tested new ICBMs on Monday to gauge the war readiness of the nuclear forces against mounting U.S. hostility, drawing condemnation for the United States and its allies. Now, Kim said Monday's launch demonstrated the military's high mobility and rapid attack capability and called the efforts to further strengthen its combat efficiency. In a separate statement, Kim's sister, Kim Yo-jong, condemned the United Nations Security Council for holding a meeting over its ICBM launch, saying it was an exercise of the country's right to self-defend. Now, the UNC should place heavy responsibility on the irresponsible behavior and act of the U.S. and the ROK. So again, they are blaming the United States, which have aggravated the tensions of the Korean Peninsula through all sorts of military provocations all year round. And we've heard Kim Jong-un saying that the United States is making war moves, that they are threatening other nations. And in addition to that, some big news coming out as well as President Xi said to President Biden directly that they are planning to take Taiwan. And a lot of people are saying that this is when cyber attacks against the U.S. could be implemented, knowing that the United States would likely come to defend Taiwan. Now take a look at this clip that just came out giving us an update on this.
It sounds like that was not about all that was discussed about this. What more do you know about what the administration's reaction has been, policymakers' reaction? I mean, this happened a little while ago. What's going on behind the scenes since then?
Well, so we know that President Xi was very blunt. He was candid. He was not confrontational. And he basically said that he plans to reunify, that China plans to reunify Taiwan with the mainland. Look, this fits into what he has consistently said publicly, but Garrett, it lands differently when he is speaking directly to the president and against the backdrop of these tensions between the U.S. and China in the wake of that spy balloon incident. The whole purpose of this meeting was to try to bring down the temperature on what were mounting tensions. We are getting some reaction. The White House not responding, but Senator Lindsey Graham saying this: I will be working with Democratic and Republican senators to do two things quickly. First, create a robust defense supplemental for Taiwan. And second, draft pre-invasion sanctions from hell to impose on China if they take action to seize Taiwan. I believe there is strong bipartisan support to stand up to Chinese communist aggression. When you listen to what President Biden said there after the meeting, kind of reiterated the U.S. position as it relates to China and Taiwan. But of course, we know that this president has been asked about this, and he has said that, yes, he would be prepared to use the U.S. military if China were to make a move to try to take Taiwan. The White House has walked those comments back, as you know. But again, this was a comment, Garrett, that really that was noticed by officials in the room because of this fraught backdrop against which President Xi made that statement.
When I listened to this reporting with my congressional reporter hat on, I was thinking about the sanctions in the context of the Russia-Ukraine war, too, where sanctions had not been as effective as everybody in Washington thought they would be at changing Putin's calculus. I wonder if it would be different with Xi. But I also wonder about this meeting in particular, because as you pointed out, this is all about lowering the temperature. And the other big takeaway from this was that they were going to reestablish military-to-military communications, which also seems not to have happened. So how is the administration, how should we evaluate the success of that meeting based on your reporting and what we already know?
I think the big success of that meeting was that it happened at all because the two leaders hadn't met in a year. They did agree to reestablish military-to-military communications. As you rightfully point out, that has not happened yet. And remember, President Biden said trust but verify. So the United States very much in a posture of looking at China with skepticism as it relates to some of those commitments. But again, Garrett, what's significant is that these two leaders got into the same room and talked and tried to reach an agreement on some of these really thorny
Always
issues.
rather have them talking than not talking.
That's right.
So there you have it, and let me know your thoughts. Are we going to be entering into World War III here very soon? Or are we going to be able to avoid this? Or many are saying we have already entered World War III. It's already started. These cyber attacks are phase 1, and the last phase is going to be potential nuclear war. Let me know your thoughts. Now, speaking of the cyber attacks that have been taking place, I just reported with you a major attack that took place taking down 70% of the gas stations in Iran, and they are actually blaming the United States, though we are not taking ownership of it. Now, to get the latest as to what's been going on, be sure to check out this video right here next as I covered it in detail regarding the cyber attacks that have been taking place around the world. But with that being said, you guys, that is the latest, and I'll be sure to keep you up to date as more information rolls out. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.